Hey guys, Salty Ethan here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing a complete beginner's guide to Misfortune as requested in the comments. So this guide is going to be a great guide for anyone looking to pick up MF or is transitioning into the AD carry role. I'm going to start the video with some pros and cons on MF before getting on into the guide. The pros of MF are she's easy to pick up as a new champion, she can be versatile in item builds, she has a strong laning phase in early game, she's the only ADC that can one-shot. Jhin is not, he takes 4 shots. The cons for MF are she has bad late game scaling, not good in a team without CC, she's immobile with no escapes, and you rely on your laning phase to snowball and win. So let's start breaking those pros and cons down simpler so beginners can understand them. Number 1, she's easy to pick up. One of the first champions you get in the game, MF is really easy to understand and her abilities don't require mechanics, so anyone can learn to play her at a good level. Number 2, she's versatile in item builds. MF usually builds lethality, but against a really tanky team, you can go press the attack and build on hit or even full crit. This opens up many options for MF, while standard ADCs can only build crit. Number 3, she has a strong laning phase and early game. MF is a lane bully because of her early Q damage from minions. I'm going to use the term fat Q, meaning you kill a minion with your Q and it bounces on an enemy champion doing 100% crit. This fat Q makes MF so powerful in the laning phase because it chunks you really hard. The more Qs MF can hit, the more likely she is to win the laning phase. Number 4, she's the only ADC who can one-shot. There's a reason why MF's passive gives her bonus AD on new targets, which correlates to why she even builds lethality. Q auto is enough to blow up a squishy when you're fed. Alright, now on to the cons. The first con, MF has bad late game. This isn't that big of a deal, but it still affects MF in terms of damage. You'll still be able to one-shot people late game, but the enemy ADC you're up against is starting to scale as well, so you'll be slowly outclassed as the game drags on. However, you can take Dark Harvest and you'll scale better than any other rune choice, so your damage won't fall off too hard. Number 2, MF is not good in a team without CC. MF's main team fighting damage comes from her ult. People won't be brain dead and just stand in your ult, so you need reliable CC to channel your ult for as long as possible. If you have a team full of assassins, then you don't need to pick MF because that team's either going to one-shot the enemy team or you just don't have any CC that can let your ult run out. However, things like Orianna, Ornn, and Leona are great for MF. Number 3, immobile with no escapes. This is already a given since ADCs are already immobile, but MF can only rely on flash to get out of a crappy spot, unlike Lucian, who has a dash. If the enemy team has Zed, Talon, Yasuo, any kind of that cancer, then try to pick an ADC that can kite better. Number 4, you rely on your laning phase to snowball. In order for MF to be useful in the game, she has to win lane or at least get kills. If MF ends up losing lane, which correlates to losing CS and XP, then she'll fall behind and end up doing no damage. Now with pros and cons out of the way, let's get to her abilities and understand them at a higher level. MF's passive, Love Tap, gives her the bonus AD on a new target, so if you hit a champion, it'll do bonus AD to them, but if you hit them again, then your damage will be reduced to your normal AD. Here's a pro trick you can use with MF's passive to take out turrets even faster. Since Love Tap is applied to anything you can hit, you can activate W, your attack speed steroid, and auto the turret, then a minion, and a turret again to do more damage to it. Your Q, the bread and butter of your power. Q is MF's greatest tool. Without it, she has no lane bully potential. Q has the same range as your auto attack, so that means your Q is a stronger version of your auto, or a chunkier bullet from MF's gun. If you hit a minion, then Q can bounce off from it to hit anything in that cone radius. As I mentioned before, if the first target is killed from Q and hit the champion, it will critically strike for 100% bonus damage. I recommend having MF on SmartCast so you can actually see the Q cone radius when you hit it off a minion. When an enemy champion stands behind a minion, and if they're in that cone radius, then the Q will prioritize the champ over minions. So try to find the sweet spot or position yourself to where you're hitting Qs off minions and the enemy ADC is standing right behind it. Now let's talk about W, MF's attack speed steroid. This gives MF the attack speed she lacks as an ADC. You want to use W when you're autoing champions to get as much damage out as possible. Similar to the turret passive trick I talked about earlier, you can do the same thing to enemy champions. You activate W, auto a champion, then a minion, then a champion again to dish out bonus damage. W's cooldown will go down the more you auto minions or champions. So if you try to clear a minion wave, you can turn on W and start autoing, and your W will be back up again because of reduced cooldown. Your E. The most mana costly ability is mainly for poke and light CC. You only ever max E when you go for Arcane Comet. The only use for E is when you get out of laning phase to slow enemies down and ulti them. And finally, your ultimate, the steak and potatoes of MF. This is her signature ability, the 5-man ulti pentakill. Your R is a monster in lane, and people don't use it enough. If your support has a point-and-click CC like Leona or Alistar, then you can easily get a double kill down in the bot lane at level 6. However, your R is easily interrupted. You can end up canceling your ult when you click on the ground or get silenced by Soraka. Any CC will stop your ult, so it's essential to get into a safe spot to ulti. Now on to skill max. If you're going Dark Harvest MF, you go Q, W, E, and R. Max Q as fast as possible since it's your main damage source, and W second for the attack speed. If you go for Press the Attack or Conquer, then max W, Q, and E. W for attack speed and reduced cooldown when you auto champions or minions. And lastly, for Arcane Comet, you go E, Q, and W. Now let's talk about items. For Dark Harvest and Arcane Comet, you build Lethality, going for Dustblade, Ghostblade, Edge Knight, and Armor Penetration item. For Press the Attack, you go for Bloodthirster, Stormrazor, LDR, Phantom Dancer, and Infinity Edge. Notice how these builds all tie to rune choices, and I've made super specific video guides on each rune choice, so you can refer to those if you want a more in-depth guide on certain runes. Now the last topic we're going to discuss is the specific style of playing MF. MF is a poke/trade ADC. She uses either Q or E to poke in lane and uses her auto Q auto for short trades and burst. MF doesn't shine in all ins until level 6 because of the damage fall off from her passive after repeatedly hitting the same target. In order to win the laning phase in Snowball, you have to play to your win condition, or what MF excels at, which is poke. Her Q poke chunks enemies and gives you opportunities to take turret platings or potentially kill them with another Q bounce. E poke whittles down the enemy health bars while keeping you in a safe spot when playing Arcane Comet. And auto Q auto trade is if they walk up for CS and you find that window to trade damage. This is your win condition for laning phase, and for most post laning phase or mid game, this is your win condition for laning phase, and for most laning phase or mid games depending on enemy team comps. Your job should be constantly to CS and look to team fight with your ulti. Let's put a mid-game idea into example. You just took bot turret and recalled. You can either go top or take top turret with your support, or go mid if the enemy mid laner has no wave clear. We call this the lawnmower strategy. You take out the tier 1 turrets, then move on to the next. This way your team will always be able to push a lane. Another reason why you do this is to continuously get CS and XP to scale. Late game is where you drop, and you have to be especially careful. Your job is to stick with your team and stay in the backline when a fight breaks out. Only channel your ulti when reliable CC is hit on crucial targets or multiple targets. Crucial target meaning enemy ADC or the most fed person on the enemy team. One thing a lot of people don't know of MF is that she has the potential to steal Drakes or even Baron over the wall. If your team spots something, then you should try to contest it since not every jungler can smite. The final part for late game is to make sure you have a defensive item to keep you alive. Things like Mercurial Scimitar, Guardian Angel, and Edge of Night are great choices. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's guide on Misfortune. Please don't forget to drop a like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let me know what kind of guide you want to see next in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to make that video. Good luck on Summoner's Rift, and peace out.